Hello, everyone. This is Dave, and this is Moonride, my channel where I channel the man in the moon. Today, I'm going to just look into the next president. I'd like everybody who's watching to know that one reason that I do this is that we're in a really difficult and very stressful time as Americans and the world, but especially as Americans because we have to act, we have to make decisions, and we are being called in to talk to our congressmen, to protest, and it's going to get worse. We're going to have to do that even more. But I also really need people to know that it's going to be okay. I've channeled this on a bunch of times. Trump is not going to take over our nation. We really are going to prevail. Think of this as a kind of inoculation. Maybe a tyrant could have taken over if we didn't go through this and readjust our values as Americans uh, and see, where the truth really is, right? So I just really want everybody to just, take a moment of breath and realize that, we're going to be safe. We're going to be okay. Let's channel in here, see about the next president. Sometimes I don't get a name for these things. It might be that this person is unknown to me, and so I might not get a name. But we'll just see what happens, right? Let's check it out. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so I always like to let viewers know, like, everybody's capable of doing this kind of work. For me, and some people work differently, but I see pictures, and then I just kind of get like sort of a thought bubble about what that picture means. First thing I see is a rake, okay, and somebody's raking in the leaves. They're raking in, they're pulling in those people that are needed, and I think of those as being like voters. Um, I do see Adam Schiff. And is Adam Schiff the president? Mm-hmm. I do see Adam Schiff. Let's see. Is he walking up to that podium? Hmm, okay. No, I see it being Adam Schiff. I think that Adam Schiff might be working closely with Bernie Sanders. Um, and I think Bernie Sanders will be in the picture someplace, but I'm not sure that Bernie will be the president. Um, and really, it's just a question of age. It's not because he's not adequate to the job. It's just a question of age. Um, Adam Schiff is a younger man, and he'll have more. Just people will just have more confidence that he'll live out the presidency. One thing that we need to understand is that we can't have another interruption. We'll be getting rid of the president and the vice president. There's going to be a lot of problems politically, and most Americans are just going to go, look, I need somebody to settle down with. I don't need another shock. Um, and Bernie's in the picture there. I definitely see him involved, but they've kind of made a decision like, hey, Bernie, you are really effective in the Senate, and you'll be more effective in the Senate. I see Bernie as maybe being the leading the Senate. So not the vice president, but um, the doesn't the vice president usually lead the Senate? I can't remember my civics, I'm afraid. But I do see him in that role, so I think it's possible even that I keep seeing Schiff, Adam Schiff, and the person next to him, is it Bernie? I do see it as Bernie. I wonder if it's even possible that Bernie might be the vice president. And Schiff is just going to signal to everybody that not only am I going to be a Democrat, I'm going to move left, and that's what we need. Um, yep, I see Adam Schiff. He's the calm person that everybody needs right now. You know what and that's what people are going to see in him. Like some return to normalcy and somebody who speaks calmly and without these crazy hyperboles and lying all the time. Um, it'd be hard to make Adam Schiff like look ruffled. You know what I mean? He's just like the face of calm, and but he's telling the truth and he's speaking the truth, and he's reprimanding people a little bit for their behaviors. Um, Trey Gowdy is looking a little bit ashamed. Um, I see all of the Republicans actually looking a bit ashamed. Like even the conservative right wings are like, you know what, once we saw that, once we got the details, yeah, we were wrong. We shouldn't have propped this guy up. He really was as bad as it could be, and the party is damaged. Republican Party, it's forever damaged. Like I almost feel like either that party is going to be dismissed for many years, like nobody will vote for them and they will not be successful for years, or that it will actually fall apart, that it will be replaced with a new party. It is that dire that I just see them leaving, and I don't know if that's forever or just maybe it's more like 8 years where they won't have any power. And let's take another look at Adam Schiff and just see like what's he gonna do? Now, it's not 100% certain yet that he'll be president, but he will probably be the president because there's a few levers that have to change before it becomes certain. Here's a good question. When will he become president? How soon is this going to happen? Uh-huh. Okay, Nuna, this could really take place. That what happens is they do get rid of Trump, they do get rid of Pence, and so essentially the president is appointed. He's essentially appointed by the winning party after the election. It's almost like a parliament that he is put in that position because he is the top ranking, um, you know, Democrat. And, I know he is member of the House of Representatives, so I don't know how that would work. But is Schiff maybe making a decision about who's a president? I do see him as like I don't know how he gets there, but I do see him as a president, like almost like the president pro tem. And that he's a president, he's going to calmly lead us in some directions. Um, it may be like a 6-year presidency, so it might literally be like he does get reelected after he's just sort of put in this position. I still do see Bernie Sanders around a lot. So I don't think Bernie's going to disappear. His efforts will be rewarded on some level. And that might just be that he's influencing the new Democratic Party a lot and that he's moving everybody to the left. And I just get that Bernie's going to put money back into people's pockets. This money has been siphoned away by the very, very rich. But I see him with money and putting it in people's pockets. So that's really going to be effective. It's not going to be some abstract issues, that he's going to really do something to help people. And I'm just wondering if it's insurance, like medical stuff. The medical stuff, the maybe even single payer, it will all be much easier on the future of Americans' pocketbooks. And between the two of them, Schiff and Bernie will be able to convince people to move more in the direction of single payer. And the people are rallying behind them. They finally had enough. And they're like, look, we're ready for single payer now. We're not listening to anybody else. It's almost like Bernie could also be the president. I don't know. I can't quite tell. They keep showing up together, and I wonder if they're on a single ticket. And I wonder if Bernie won't be first, and then after some time, maybe he'll be the president pro tem. and then after some time, there'll be a more normal election, and then there'll be Schiff, because they're both very present in the future. And it's unfortunately kind of to the exclusion of women who are good candidates. It's just that the country has just been through so much. Everybody's like, look, we can't try anything radical or crazy right now. We need safe, and safe is actually a Schiff-like character, and but at the same time we want change. So Bernie's going to change, but not, we don't want to look at a new minority. Um, Bernie's radical enough, but he looks like me and he has the same gender, so maybe I'll stick with him. I just see women in the future being more political and getting higher positions. But the next shift is going to be this very simple, very organic sort of back to real values, back to real meanings. Shift. I always see Shift. He's got, I don't know which one of those guys is first or second or whatever, but both of them are very involved in the next political season. And I'm just going to ask what happens in 2018 with the election. I do see Democratic landslide, Democrats moving ahead very quickly, Republicans getting further and further and further marginalized as the revelations come out about some of the things that Trump did. Just like one after another, it's just one humiliation. Then they reveal what Ivanka did. Then they reveal what happened. Then you listen to some of the tapes that they have from Cohen's off. It's just going to be it's just a situation that the Republicans cannot recover from. There are a few noble Republicans, and they have lived up to their standards. They have said no to Trump. They've said, we believe in our country before our party. And they were able to look into the future and say, I don't want people to write about me in history that I sold the country into a dictatorship. There are integrity. Lindsey Graham, he has shown up with integrity. There are others. I think I'm seeing Burr. I don't know. Other senators are showing up with integrity, and they'll be remembered for their good deed of protecting the country. In a way, we can thank them. Without those guys, without those particular Republicans, Mueller's investigation would have ended, and he would have gotten away with it. So we might think of Mueller as the hero, but don't forget, the Republicans who could have sold out did not, and there was a lot of temptation to do so. So don't forget those guys. Don't forget to put them on a pedestal, because they do belong there. They are heroic people. Have gone up against their own constituency to say the right things. And I see them as like stand-up guys, like stand-up people. And I also want to include the senator from Maine. I forget her name, so I don't want to just say it's just men. But she's been a stand-up person. She's righteous. We might not agree with her, but she's righteous. Collins, that's her name, Collins. And I see them all like with a staff, like, I'm honorable. And I would not I would not let Trump pass. I'm there with my staff, and I'm there with justice, and I'm calmly in relationship with justice. And they know what's going on. Those particular Republicans, they are just as open-eyed as anybody else. They know what Trump's trying to do, and they're like, you know what? We got to tread really gingerly here, but we set the limits. There's a reason why Trump has not gotten rid of Mueller. Right? Because he knew they wouldn't go along with it. He wouldn't get away with it, and he won't try it again, because there's nothing else that he can do to get rid of them. They've already said no way, you're not doing that. Especially Collins. I see Collins really smiling. It mattered. It mattered that these particular people used their influence among their constituents to do it. Anything else about the next president? Okay, I keep seeing Schiff. Bernie's almost in the background, almost like an inspiration. So I think a lot of the Bernie, whatever happens with Bernie, some of his ideas and will be incorporated into our future government. especially ones involving money and like how money is misused. Um, is this involving elections or banks? Both, but especially elections. Banks, yeah, not so much. But and that may happen anyway. But he's the one that's going to bring like, hey, we need control over how much money goes to these candidates' pockets, and like he will be influential, if not the president. Look, they really want you to know. Look, we are still a democracy. We still can take control of our democracy. We're being called upon to do so, to do really, really tough work. And now's the time. We cannot, no longer can we just sit there on the sidelines and just expect our government to do the right thing. Democracy is active. You must go and get it. You can't sit in front of your TV and live in a democratic country. This time, you're going to have to go into the streets and demand that things change. And people will, and it'll be a risk. There, there will be people who target those who are protesting in the street. They are dark forces, and they don't want to lose their power, and they are really jealous of this um, experience. So, I mean, it won't be easy. And when I say targeted, there'll be people with guns, and they will try to kill, and we will have to respond with just peace and calm and very silent protest. The peaceful protest that we have been taught as Americans. I'm just being told. Don't forget that Martin Luther King did this himself. Black people, with the help of very progressive peoples of all colors, we changed. He's like, look, we changed that government. Don't forget that we can do it again. And don't forget that it was solidarity between black people and white people. It was solidarity between people of all races that looked to me to know that we could be unified. And we're going to have to do that again. I mean, you need to be prepared if you're an American to go to across borders to people you don't necessarily agree with 100% of the time, and say, all right, maybe you are BLM and I'm a cop, and I don't necessarily believe with Black Lives Matter, but I do believe in America, and I'm willing to protest and walk down the street with you and to talk about our differences and have a new country. I'm willing to do that. Wherever you're from, wherever enclave that you're in, um, you know, we're all Americans, and though we are facing some dark, dark forces right now, we are Americans, and when we decide that we want to change the world, we do, and we can, and we have to just, there's some people you can't argue with; they're never going to listen. But there's some people who, you don't need to fetishize all the details of the differences between the two of us. Basically, we both want these people removed from office, and we want them to be replaced with people that care about us. Okay, so let's just forget the rest of the details and the the college speak where everybody's being sensitive. Let's just let's try to listen and work together. And I see people locking arms like this, moving forward in a body, all races. You know, it'll be really beautiful to see in a lot of ways that people go beyond themselves to care about others and about our community. In a way, you got to say, America, it's about time. It's about time we did that. Hmm? And they're saying it's going to work out. Don't worry. It really will work. This is an important historical event that we are seeing, but America will come out strong again. We will not lose our place in the world. We come out stronger having lived through this experience. And do not be cruel, right? For those people that voted for Trump, you're going to be really tempted to go, ha 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 ha. Try not to be cruel. Try to understand, where were those people coming from? Why did they vote for him? It's not just racism. There were some legitimate concerns that those people had, and we can't forget those people. They were trying to let us know that we were there, and maybe not the best way, as a teenager who does bad things wants attention from its parents, but it doesn't mean the teenager's bad. They have done a bad thing, right? We need to have some, some conversations about what was done, but try to go to these people with some air of understanding. Just because we were right doesn't mean we have to be cruel. It doesn't mean that we accept some of the darker things that they have done and said. We don't want to legitimize them. But look, we will overcome this. We will come out stronger. There's every reason to hope for America. I mean, I'm seeing a crown. We will be crowned again, and again we will return to our glory, the true glory that means an independent nation full of people who are different, who work together towards a goal. All right. Thanks so much for watching.